What is she?
She's like you, very much like you.
I'm Pip, and I'm floor managing things today. As you know, we have James and Hugh and Patrick here to answer lots of your questions. We're streaming this to multiple pages across the world, and we've collated lots and lots of your questions. Thank you very much for those. Guys, on the back of your cards, you will find who sent the question in and where they're from. And we're also going to be giving away a signed and personalised limited edition photo book to one lucky viewer live on this stream. All you have to do is write in the comments below, #LoganLive for a chance to win. So I'm going to ask you guys to get through as many questions as you possibly can, and we will be picking the winner.
That's for me. Don't talk too much, right?
Don't talk too much. Well,
where does it say don't talk too much?
I do. My answers are too long. But you can just tell me to shut up.
You pale in comparison to my verbosity.
Wow, see. We're going to answer three questions.
We can, 3 questions max. All right, so should I draw one?
We'll be picking the winner at the end of the stream, guys. So I'm going to hand that over to James to get started with the very first question.
All right, let's move this beautiful book of ours. I'm going to Vinny from Belgium.
Perfect.
To Patrick and Hugh, how has playing these characters of Wolverine, Logan, James Howlett, and Charles Xavier influenced your lives?
Wow.
Oh, man. Okay, this will sound like a sycophantic reply, but it brought me into this man's life, into Jackman's life, and that has been one of the best things that's happened to me in 58 years. And now I can add to that, Mr. Mangold too.
I will take that sycophantic answer every day of the
Every
week.
day. Nicely done. Very kind.
Okay, well, I'm going to reciprocate. For me, this was the first film I had ever done in America, so fair to say I probably wouldn't still be doing theatre somewhere around the world if it wasn't for this film. But the people I've got to meet, when I finally saw this film sitting next to you, we've worked together for 16 years, we've worked together for 17 years, it hit me, the people I've worked with, that's the greatest joy. And this character that I love, it means everything to me. But I've worked something out finally after 17 years that it actually takes fewer people who believe and fight more to make something you're really proud of. You know, the committee doesn't necessarily always work. Just a small band of people who believe is what you need. And so, yeah. Shall I?
Go for it.
Go for it.
Patrick, I'm going to ask one. We should ask one for Jim for next.
Yeah.
Spoken. Okay, Angelo from the United Arab Emirates. James, how long did it take to find the? Oh, great question. How long did it take to find the perfect girl, Daphne, to play X-23?
Well, you know, when I started working on the script, well, it's very apropos to answer this question with these two gentlemen at my side. We got to a pass, Scott Frank and I got to a pass on the script around a year and a couple months ago, where I sat and I could see the whole thing beginning to end, and I knew we had a movie. And it was like a 3-legged stool. It's not a big movie. It featured 3 characters. And 2 legs of this stool were these 2 gentlemen. I knew that already, and so I had tremendous confidence. I knew each of them was up to it. I knew each of them would leap at it. I think both of them exceeded any expectations I had in the movie in terms of the level of risk and boldness of their performances. But the mystery, the really terrifying thing getting into this film was the question mark of the 3rd leg of that stool. And I remember explaining to casting directors that I needed to find a Spanish-speaking, Latin heritage young woman between 10 and 12 years old who was excellent at tumbling and martial arts, and who also could act up a storm at a moment's notice and shoulder a role that would be one of the 3 major roles in a tentpole film. And as you can imagine, and was bilingual, if I didn't say that. I got, a lot of names didn't come back in, meaning you say all that, it's like there's very few people who pass through all those filters. And one day, I was sitting in my office and this tape came over of a young woman named Daphne Keane, and I remember showing it to each of these gentlemen, because in a way, I remember very succinctly the day you were in. I think I sent it to you, but I
sent it
think
to me, yeah.
the day Patrick came by, I think the biggest question for any of us is, I get it, I know what I'm going to do, and I know what he's going to do, but where are you finding that?
Yeah.
And when you looked at this tape, and on the tape is, I'll have to put it on the Blu-ray
Yeah,
or something.
sure,
It's Daphne
sure, you must.
climbing around the bookshelves of her house and jumping on the floor and doing tumbling, and then delivering scenes from the movie. All shot with her dad's iPhone. And
But didn't she say at one point, this is what amazed me, didn't she say, I'd like to do that again, but can I improvise it this time?
yes. And she was,
Improvise?
but she was amazing in this
amazing.
tape. She comes from a family of actors. Both her parents are actors. Her mom is a Spanish actress, her dad a British actor. And so I think she has a great sense from the time she was young of what it is. But I also think she has a great sense of her very own. And it was a remarkable find. And I hope you agree when you see the film.
She is the magic ingredient, but I'm going to have to say, watching you, what Patrick and I got to watch was watch you direct her in her first, I don't know if it's her first film, right? She may have done one TV show or something, but effectively first thing. You always get the best performances out of people. You certainly get the best performances out of me. I think that with that young girl, you create an atmosphere that was always calm and relaxed and fun. And I remember a few times people around, like we're racing for time, we've got problems, and they would come with a little stress, and I could see you pulling them away. Because I remember you were fighting for this space for her.
Well, you know, honestly,
to
I
just
fight
create.
for that for all of you guys. I think that the one thing that people don't appreciate about acting, you know, a lot of times crew members will have this expression, they'll talk about actors and they'll say, oh, he's very professional. But it's a compliment, but it's code for not trouble. And and the truth is that I'd much rather have trouble and a great performance than saying thank you after someone brings you tea.
Sure.
Because the fact is that the movie lives or dies from those performances, and what very few people understand about the stress that people like this and Daphne and others go through is that your face is blown up to the size of a side of a building, and the camera is looking into your soul. And if you stink, or you're not quite on it, or you had a fight with your wife, girlfriend, child, business manager, whatever that day, and you end on set, and any piece of that is in you, or the rush, people are saying we're losing sunlight, or da-da-da, or someone saying your makeup's not quite right, you've got to push it all away, because the camera's an x-ray, and it will, and no one else has to do that. The sound guy can be thinking all day about the fight he had with his wife as he's adjusting the levels. They cannot. They have to push it completely away, and it is a different job category and requires a kind of discipline that I'm very sympathetic toward. And that's very kind of what you're saying about Daphne, but I hope to do that for everyone, and she was very unusual in that she didn't require much. You know, I've directed kids where you have to say, like,
Do this, do
yes,
that.
look at Patrick and then smile, then look at Hugh and then frown. And Daphne, if I ever bothered to say something like Daphne would go, can you just tell me what the scene's about?
Her focus and her spontaneity is so extraordinary. And never, ever quite the same as you realize. Okay.
All right, I took up 24 minutes of that.
Yeah, this is for Hugh.
Gareth from Ireland.
I'm sorry, Gareth from Ireland. Hugh, how does it feel to say goodbye to Logan after 17 years?
I've been asked this question a lot. I feel at peace and calm that this is the last one. I feel satisfied, so grateful, particularly to you and also to you, Patrick, that I see on screen the Logan that I'd felt in my heart and head for 17 years. I love that character more than I've ever loved that character. I feel like inside I go, that's the Wolverine movie I've sort of been waiting to do. And I've been very proud of all the movies. It's whether I'm not denouncing any of the other movies before, but I've always felt there's just something more. There's just something more for us to explore, and this is it. So I'm calm, at peace. I feel like I've left the greatest party of my life, at the right time. Like, if you leave at 1:30 and you say, that was the best party, you know, no matter how good, when you leave at 4, not good. But I'm at peace with it, and yet it will never leave me. That's how I feel.
Beautiful.
Domingos from Portugal. Patrick, what has been your proudest moment playing Charles?
Man, this is really hard. Hugh, help me out. A proud moment. You know, there are many things that I am grateful I didn't do. You know, pitfalls that I avoided, obvious moments that I avoided. You know, I think, okay, my proudest moment, and this is really not very serious. I think it's when, on camera, I stick my tongue out at you in the back of the car.
You know,
I was really proud of that.
That is really cool.
Sorry if that wasn't what you were hoping
That
for.
is great. Edward from France. You know what I was going to say? We have a scene, one of our first scenes in the movie that you wrote. That's, I think the original scene maybe 6 minutes long. There is more, like, you have more ups, downs, around the corner, turnarounds. You show vulnerability, strength.
That's like a one-act play.
It's a one-act play in 5 minutes.
It's a great scene.
It's a great scene. Oh God, you know,
He's outrageously great in it.
outrageously great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's, you should be proud of.
I am. I just didn't want to say that myself.
Edward from France. James, can we expect an X-23 spin-off movie?
Expect is a big word. I think Daphne is a remarkable actress, and I think she does an incredible job with this role. And personally, I'd be shocked if we don't look into trying to develop that character further.
Well said.
Here. Okay. Zachary from France. Hugh, would you ever consider teaming up with Deadpool?
Oh, now that's a new question.
Yeah, I've not heard that one.
I've not heard that one
No.
before.
Deadpool is he's the other mutant character. Yeah.
It's Green Lantern in a different outfit?
No. And Ryan is currently sleeping outside my house. There's a little picket fence going on there. Look, if that movie had appeared 10 years ago, probably a different story. But I knew 2.5 years ago that this was the last one. The first call I made was to Jim. I said, Jim, I got one more shot at this. And as soon as Jim came up with the idea and we worked on it, I was never more excited. But it feels like the right time. Deadpool, go for it, man. Do your thing. You don't need me.
Guys, I'm really sorry to interrupt, to crash the party, but we've had all of our entrants right in.
Woohoo!
It's time to pick the competition winner.
competition.
So,
Oh, yeah.
in a kind of Logan-y hat,
Yeah.
there we go. We've
Only
got
one?
Go.
Yep, if you'll
one
pick
winner.
one,
Please, you do.
yep, to
You
win
pick.
that.
Pick.
What?
photo.
Okay. I don't want to see.
And this is the one, right?
Close your eyes, yes.
While you're picking, I'm going to do a sign.
You're going to sign it to them.
Joey Marlissa from Holland.
Joey, how do you spell it?
Joey
Joey.
Marlissa.
Joey M.
Joey M, yeah, from Holland.
There you go, Joey M.
Congratulations. That's
Congratulations.
fantastic.
And
I'm really sorry to Marwa. Sorry.
oh, don't do that to them. Don't do that.
I'm sorry, that was mean.
I'm going to have to.
You were
take-
in the final, just so you know, Marwa.
I'm going to have to steal
Patrick
Hugh
Bukuki,
away
you were
from you
there as
guys,
well.
I'm afraid.
Sorry.
And Hugh, I'm
this is-
sorry
this
to
is
do
where
this,
Hugh
but
loves
I'm
to
moving
do
elsewhere.
this.
I'm really
Yeah.
sorry. man.
Already?
Sorry.
Yeah, so it's just down to you two guys.
It's
I'm
like a filming
afraid
day.
to.
I don't film after lunch. It's
You're going to go and have a lie down now?
If you didn't know about this, Hugh works 15 minutes, takes a 4-minute break,
Yeah.
then works again 15 minutes. His little system.
But you said you like rock star mentality.
Yeah, I love
Yeah,
it. I
I'm
love
out.
it. We're out.
Okay.
All right, can I slide over here then?
Yeah, so it's over
Yeah,
to
let's
you,
do some
more
gents.
balanced
Yeah.
Open it
symmetrical
up for
frame.
Goodbye, everyone on
Hey, man.
Facebook. I'm very close.
All right, take
Goodbye.
care, Hugh.
Bye. Bye.
So it's over to you, gentlemen.
All right.
I just
right,
lost my
Mike's-
microphone. Hold on.
Oh, well, you know what? I'm talking,
You
so
talk.
it doesn't,
You
doesn't
pick
matter.
a question. I'll try and solve
okay.
this problem. Maybe someone can help me.
Pasquale, Italy. James,
Yes, sir.
why the change in direction from typical superhero movie to Western?
Well, I'm not so sure. You almost answered the question. What's the guy's name? Pasquale. You almost
Pasquale.
answered the question in your question, which is when you say typical, do you want me to just churn out another thing that's typical of everything else? It sounds so boring. The change in tone was because I think, I mean, I've said this often, I think that the superhero film, the blockbuster, the summer film has gotten to be a little bit of a cliche. And I think we've all participated. I don't think it's just studios foisting it on crowds. I think we all debate who the new supervillain will be, and they all debate which hero will appear, and we all play, and where will the buried hidden scene be in the Easter egg, and where will Stan Lee appear, and the whole thing has become, frankly, a formula. Mm-hmm. And so call me a stick in the mud, but I wanted to see what would happen if one of these films just tried to break out a little bit and say, we're going to try and do something different. God knows, if we get it wrong, you'll have plenty of films playing by the same rules after us.
You know, I heard you say in another interview that, in fact, you thought that the superhero genre was experiencing something of a crisis.
Yeah, well, I think it's tired. I think how many times can you see a city fall, a country explode, a planet explode? How many different colors and shapes can we make on different guest star villains' nose and contact lenses? At some point, it's worn out. And at least for me, I thought there was some value also in this being a last film for this character. In trying to investigate the humanity of the character instead of letting the scale of the story be quite so large, which has been one of the staples, I think, the kind of cliche staples of some of these films, is that they seem to be outbidding each other in terms of stakes. You know, if you have 6 superheroes, we'll have 9. If you have 9, we've got 12. And you save the world, we'll save the galaxy. Yeah. And on some level, I thought, what happens if we reduce the scale, but try and get you just as grabbed, just as interested, just maybe more so, it would be my hope, involved in the characters and what's going on in their lives.
You know, Hugh is being asked at every interview, how does it feel to be saying goodbye to this? And I've been asked the question too, and I had usually nothing to say because I had never considered it. Not when I first heard there was to be a Wolverine movie with me, not when I saw the script. It was really Friday night in Berlin, watching the movie for the second time. Can there possibly be a better way of saying goodbye, au revoir, adios to this particular franchise than the way that this movie ends? Now that he's gone, I can tell you, because nobody else is listening to this conversation.
Yes.
The last 10 minutes in Berlin of the movie, I was sitting on Hugh's right, you were on his left. He took my hand, and we held hands for the last 10 minutes of the movie because we were both so emotional. I think, in a sense, sensing that we were saying
goodbye,
au revoir to something that hadn't been done before. You're absolutely right.
Well, it's not actually, in a way, I'm not pushing away the achievements, much like you said, of the other movies. I'm simply trying to do something different. You know, back to your question, it was just typical to be saying typical. I don't want to make a movie that's just a typical X or a typical Y. Joe from Great Britain asks of Patrick, you've aged like a fine wine. Oh. What is your secret? I think you've aged like a 28-year-old man. That's why I want to know what your secret is.
If I've aged like a fine wine, do I have a good nose?
You have an excellent nose, sir.
Thank you. What's my secret? You know, I love my job and have done from day one. I left drama school at 19, and for a month, I got no interest in me at all. I think everyone in my year got an offer of some kind, an agent, a job in repertory somewhere. I got nothing. And then weekly rep at Lincoln. You will know about Lincoln. They called and said somebody had fallen out. Could I do an acting ASM's job? And I said yes. And I was so happy that day to have that job. And I am, if anything, even happier today that I still have that job. And I think that being content and excited and anticipating your next job and the work that you do is probably a way of staying in shape, just as much as it is moving weights.
I think it's, I'd have to say, having had the good fortune to work with Patrick both on a bonus scene in the last film and on this film to a much longer extent, he brings great attitude. You feel like this guy, I can't speak, so I don't know what he jumps out of bed like, but it seems like he springs out and embraces the day. And he is, and it struck me watching Patrick go through a long shoot with me, that he really, you know, I never know in life what comes first. Is it the person is lucky enough to have great energy or produces great energy? I've come watching Patrick, I think he produces great energy. I think he produces great energy in those around him as well. But he brings enthusiasm and a kind of wonder and joy doing what he does to the set every day. He looks forward to his work, and I think that's a really beautiful thing.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, where are we? No. I've got to reach over here to Zach, who is in Great Britain, where we are. Oh, well, this is for all three, but for both of us.
We'll struggle with it.
What was the last day of shooting like? Well, you can answer that question, but I have to answer
Your
what was
last day.
my last day of shooting like, because
Well, not in too much detail.
Oh, no. I've been faced with this problem before. I wrapped about halfway through the movie because I had to. There was another commitment. It was late at night, maybe about 1:30 in the morning, out in the open air somewhere in Louisiana. And
The bugs were incredible.
there were bugs. Yeah, it was incredible. Those were our monsters in this movie, the Louisiana bugs. And after the last shot, the assistant director said, "And that is a wrap on this movie for Patrick Stewart." And as is the tradition on movies, if they like you, people applauded. But then something else happened, which I was completely unprepared for, and I'm glad he's not here to hear this. But then Hugh called for attention from the whole set, and he made a speech about me. And I began to choke up as I remember that. Nobody has ever done that before. And it was fantastic to have the star, the lead of our movie, saying the things that he did say. How was it for you?
The end was, I think I'm feeling it like these guys more. I felt it more in Berlin with the finished film than I did on the last day of photography. It's such, the only thing I can compare it to is for those of you who play sport, that when you're playing in a championship game, you cannot be thinking the whole time, I'm in a championship game, I'm in a championship game. Or you can't even be thinking, you have to somehow think about where the ball is. And so in a weird way, I didn't allow myself to feel the power of what we had done and that it was over and that we had, for instance, in the case of Hugh, this was his last day ever playing Wolverine. It occurred to me, but the power of it occurred to me sitting in Berlin watching our finished film. Because literally what's in my head on the last day Hugh was shooting is, do I need a closer angle from the side? Did I get the thing, or we've lost so much sun that I can't get one more? Meaning I am greedy when I'm shooting. Part of a director's job is to be insatiably trying to get the most he can from his actors, the most he can from his crew. Did I get every shot? I'm running through how the sequence is cutting. So I'm kind of an emotional lost cause for sensitivity to these broader issues at that point. All right.
Guys, I'm sorry. Talking of
we've run out of time.
That is actually a wrap for us on Facebook Live. So I'm going to say congratulations to our winner, Joey. I'm actually very jealous about that. And that's all we've got time for, I'm afraid. So it's goodbye from us here on Logan Facebook Live.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Goodbye.
What is she? She's like you. Very much like you.